In today's episode, we battle East vs. West Disney rides with the theme park duo.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
You are listening to the Main Street Magic Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy Stein and John Marone. Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and I'm joined as always by my good buddy, John Marone.
Hello.
In today's episode, we're having a face-off between rides and attractions that appear at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. And for that, we are joined by Nikki and Gabe from Theme Park Duo. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
So for those that are maybe a little unfamiliar with Theme Park Duo, you want to share a little bit of background about your show and just let our listeners know a little bit more about you guys?
Yeah, sure. We're a husband and wife duo. We love going to theme parks in Southern California and sometimes beyond, and we just love to chat about it.
Is the beyond is found like in the Bed Bath & Beyond? That's what she's talking about, like that beyond.
Or the Florida beyond.
The Florida
else,
beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else, yeah. So, I mean, and we just love everything about theme parks, really, and you know, that extends out into the whole, you know, haunts that they do during Halloween and conventions that talk about theme parks and stuff like that. So we love to go to anything that covers theme park stuff. So we have a wide variety of interests and loves.
Very cool. That's awesome. Well, and that's what, when I started following you guys more and finding out more about you and knowing that you were based out on, you know, the left coast out there, and that you would more frequent Disneyland as opposed to our Disney World that John and I are a little bit more used to. And with it being March Madness, I'm a huge basketball fan. I thought it'd be pretty cool maybe to take rides that we know we have in both Disneyland and Disney World, whether they're technically the exact same ride, you know, with a couple differences, or maybe they have the same ride systems that a couple people have heard about. And let's pit them against each other between, you know, you two and John. So I've never been to Disneyland, so I don't have a say in this. I would just say Disney World was the best for everything, because that's as far as my reach goes right now. But I thought it would just be fun. We've got the three of you, so a good odd number, and we could pick a clear-cut winner for each of these rides or attractions on the list. And at the end, I can tally them up and kind of see who comes out on top as far as these rides go. So we'll start, and as I go through these, maybe we'll just run through. We'll do Nikki, Gabe, and then John for each one, and then I'll mark on my end, you know, who came out the clear winner, and at the end, we'll see who reigns supreme. Sound good?
Sounds great. I think you're putting Nikki on the spot because she never goes first.
Well, we'll say that's what we're trying to do. We're getting people out of their comfort zone here. So
Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. I'm poking you right
I will.
now.
Stop poking me.
Perfect.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So let's start off with Space Mountain. Nikki, which Disneyland or Disney World are you going with for Space Mountain?
I love both for different reasons, but I'd say the edge goes with Disneyland. The cars are a little better. The audio is a little better on the ride, and yeah, that's really it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little smoother too.
Yeah.
So when I went on the Space Mountain over there at Walt Disney World, I was actually rather impressed, and I had a lot of fun because it did a lot of things that I really wasn't expecting, and I think that's mainly because I kind of have ours memorized at this point.
Oh yeah.
And you could close your eyes and it doesn't even matter. You know which way it's turning, the left, the right, left, right, right, left, you know, all that stuff. And I love both like Nikki does, but simply based on technology and kind of the quality of the attraction, I would have to edge out with Space Mountain at Disneyland.
Okay.
For the same reasons that Nikki has said, you know, the audio is in the car. You don't just have the audio kind of playing at the bottom of the mountain like over at Walt Disney World. It is smoother, albeit we only have one track. That's true. But at least we could sit side by side instead of just in a single row.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that part as well, I would think. But so how about you, John? Which one are you going with?
Yeah, I think you hit it. Number one, I think Disney World gets the advantage if you are a single rider, because you have the two cars of 3 seats, so you have 6 total, but you sit one right behind each other, where Disneyland, you sit side by side, and with the audio being right in the vehicles, And the other thing that you have at Disneyland that you do not ever have at Disney World is overlays. So when they do Hyperspace Mountain, and they also do the
Ghost Galaxies,
Ghost Galaxy overlays, in addition to regular Space Mountain, clean sweep here for Disneyland 3-0.
Man, this was like this was like a 1 seed versus 16 seed. Well, unless it was Virginia, but yes, that's man. That was
it's so
a clean
funny.
sweep.
We just had an episode with Rich from One Little Spark, and we made the joke about Walt Disney World Space Mountain because I made the comparison to their music. It sounds like there's just like a boombox just at the bottom of the hill.
Oh yeah,
and someone's just pressing like repeat every 10 minutes.
I'm pretty sure that is the technology. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It with a stick.
All right, so next we're gonna move on to Soarin'. Which I know we've had a change not too long ago here in Walt Disney World. But let's pit these two against each other, and we'll go ahead and rotate through. So this time we'll start with you, Gabe.
Oh, thank goodness.
I thought that would help you out there.
That does. Thank you. This one's really hard. I mean, honestly, both attractions are very, very, very similar. Outside of the last shot of the attraction, pretty much. Yeah. So over there, you guys fly over Spaceship Earth, correct? Is that the very ending of yours?
Shot, yep.
And then for us, you fly into Disneyland and you see the fireworks. That's pretty cool. Oh man, this one's rough because they're essentially the same. So I'm just gonna go off of the attractions and where they're located and kind of how they work within the confines of where they are. That's the only way I could really make a difference, because obviously if I was from Florida, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm flying over Spaceship Earth. That's way better. Yeah. So within the confines of Disneyland, you're within Grizzly Peak, where you have all these really big fake redwoods, and it feels very outdoorsy. And then over in Epcot, yours is kind of indoors. Where exactly is it located? I apologize.
It's over in the land.
It's in the land?
Yep.
Okay. So both fit very, very well, but I'm going to edge out to Disneyland based on the fact that the areas around it, aren't just a building like in Walt Disney World. In ours, you have like this whole outdoor area with the trees and the restaurant right next to it and everything like that. So I'll have to edge it to Disneyland.
Okay. All right. One for Disneyland. How about you, John?
So I'll go along with that and just expand on it a bit. The movies, obviously, we already said, right, they're identical except for the just finishing. But Disney World, it's stuck in the land building. It's there outside of Sunshine's, or Seasons Eatings there, where you have the food court. You got Listen to the Land on the other side. It's an attraction inside of attraction building. Disneyland, the building actually looks like I won't call it a terminal per se, but almost like a hangar. So it looks like an airport hangar. You have smoke jumpers right across the street from it. You have that airplane sitting off on the side right when you come out of the Grand Californian and you're making your way around that corner. There's that airplane that's sitting right there as part of the theming. So I'm giving mine here to, I won't say Disneyland because it's California Adventure. We'll give the West Coast the advantage on this one just because of the theming. Also, I think the queue is shorter. They don't seem to get the lines that for this ride out there that we get at Epcot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're up, Nikki.
Okay. I'm going to have to go along with everyone else.
Man.
Yeah. Put aside the fact that I don't like the ride unless I'm dead center because of how skewed everything is.
I was just about to ask if your guys' Eiffel Tower was crooked too.
Oh my gosh.
It's wonderfully crooked.
Me.
It's amazing.
No, it hurts. It makes me angry.
Yeah. It's a sight to see.
It's okay, but that little small rant aside, I will give the edge to California because of the theming of the building and the whole area. It gives you a much grander sense of adventure. And so, I'll go with the group and go with California.
All right.
So let me ask you guys a question, though, on this. Being from California, what do you think about the old movie versus the new one?
We love the old one.
I miss California.
Way more.
Yeah, California Screaming.
I think the quality of what they did previously was leaps and bounds better than what they're doing now. I don't mind the CG aspect of the new film, but what bothers me is that it's so prevalent. If they were to have scattered that out through the film, it's not so bad, but I like the original feel of like the film and it being real life and only small additions of CG as opposed to almost all of it.
And I miss the smell of the oranges.
Yeah. Oranges.
Yep. The orange groves, the beach, everything. I agree. I miss the film of California.
Yeah.
The thing I miss the most about it is when you were flying over the mountaintop where you have the skiers, this guy jumps off of the rock and just completely eats it. Like right as you fly over the top. It's probably one of the best parts of the ride, or was one of the best parts of the ride. You just be like, oh!
That's great. Oh man! All right, well we're gonna move on to the next one, and this is gonna be one of the ones that are comparable rides, so they're on the list. And you guys have Grizzly River Run, we have Cali River Rapids. So this time we'll start with you, John.
You ride it, you get wet on both of them.
Accurate description, sir. Accurate description.
I'd been to. I want to say I'd been to California Adventure 3 times, and each time we skipped it because just when we'd go during the course of the year, it was always a little cooler. So, I didn't want to get soaking wet and walk around just, during that period of time. This last year when we went, the end of May, early June, we finally sucked it up and went on it. They both fit the lands, pretty evenly. I tend to think that Cali River Rapids, you're going to get much wetter, and it seems shorter. I think Grizzly River Run is a little bit of a longer track, and seems like definitely a longer incline. I also like the giant grizzly bear outside the ride, and they also have lockers outside that you can put your stuff in before you get onto the ride, where on Cali River Rapids, you store everything in the center of the ride underneath a thin piece of plastic.
And that's gone now.
Is that gone now?
Yep, it's gone now. They do now. They did add lockers outside of that area, but they're not very prevalent. Like, you have to have somebody really point them out to you. But yeah, they took out that little center thing that was covered by like a plastic bag, pretty much. So your stuff was still getting wet.
Yeah,
but at least they have
just a flap there.
Yeah. Yep, and it is. So it's short. It's so short.
So again, the peak of Grizzly, Falls is rock work, and from the side it looks just like the head of a grizzly. I just think the theming is better, and as I said, with the redwoods and everything in that whole area. California Adventure / West Coast gets the water ride vote for me.
Man, there, yeah.
You get wet.
All right. Well, we'll go to you, Nikki. If you have anything more to expand on other than you'll get wet on both rides.
Forgive me, Gabe, did we ride Cali River Rapids?
We actually did not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
We did not get to do that. Unfortunately, I mean, I've watched so many videos that I know it.
You know it?
I know it pretty well. I don't think you're that nerdy.
Well, mine might be a default vote, but I actually really love our Grizzly River Rapids. I think the theming is great. I think it's beautiful. Like, anywhere you look, there's something to look at. Even if you don't ride it, there's like this wood boardwalk that goes all the way around the queue, and you can watch people going down the drop. It's just so fun. There's
you get really close.
You get super
can
close.
get wet if you get close enough.
I ran away really scared one time. And then there's these small little moments where it looks like someone's camp, like a base camp or something, and it's kind of hidden back in the extended queue. But if you take the back path, you can see all that stuff
through the smoky cloud of smokers.
Yeah, it's a smoking area at one point, but it's still really pretty. But I just think ours is beautiful. The rock work, all the small added waterfalls that aren't even part of the ride, they're just there to be pretty. I just love the whole area. So I'll go with California Adventure.
All right, how about you, Gabe?
Man,
I think I know
this
which
is
way
not
you're
looking
leaning.
good for Walt Disney World.
No, it is not.
Honestly, like before I heard both Nikki's and his point, I was going to vote for Cali River Rapids just simply based on the fact that from the videos that I've seen, it seems like there's a little bit more of a storyline that's kind of happening. it feels a little bit more action oriented in a way when you look at kind of the setup and what's happening. But now that you mentioned kind of like the overall setup for ours and how just gorgeous it is, it's beautiful to just stand there and look at it. Like, you can enjoy the ride just looking at it because of the way it's built and the way it's designed. And not to mention that Grizzly Peak that you mentioned was the icon for Disney California Adventure when the park opened. Mm-hmm. That was like the big image that they used on all the banners and the tickets and everything. So that was a really big thing for it too. So my vote's going to have to go to Grizzly River Run.
All right, West Coast is running away with this one early, but so next one.
Trust me, there's some that might actually get it soon.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, we're gonna move on to the next one, which I think is gonna be very interesting, and we'll talk. We can say pre redhead changes, but we're going with Pirates of the Caribbean.
So Nikki, now it's
your turn. You're up first for this one, right on the spot.
Okay, this one's rough because, I mean, they're pretty much the same. I mean, where the scenes take place is a little different. Like, I know the drop is in a different place, and I don't know if I like ours more because I'm used to it, but I have to say, as far as the queue goes, I like Florida more.
Okay.
I like their queue. It's so cool. I like that Florida has a ride on, or not a ride, a photo on their ride, right?
Yeah, they just added one.
Yeah. I don't know. I like ours, but I don't know if it's just nostalgia. I don't
try to beat the nostalgia. Try to go by facts.
Okay, I think
no emotions, Nikki.
No, okay, wait. No, ours has 2 little drops and theirs only has 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah. No, I like ours more.
No, the drop.
It was so close.
It's the drops. Yeah.
The drops took it.
The drops took it.
All right. How about you, Gabe?
You know, you actually made a lot of good points, Nikki. Like, I think that the line for Walt Disney World's Pirates of the Caribbean is significantly better. It gets you right in the mood for the attraction. You're in that big fort with all the stones, and you're ready to get on that ride. You're already in the mood, as opposed to ours, where you're kind of transported from current day into this the land, the area of pirates, like the life of the pirates, which is kind of interesting.
I'm going back to add one more point to why California.
This is my turn.
No, it's we have the restaurant in the
we have Blue Bayou.
That wins.
Oh, you might
hands down.
I just forgot about that. You might have made mine too.
That's why I had to add it.
Yeah, so we do have Blue Bayou, which is the restaurant that sits on the water of the attraction, which is pretty dang cool. I do like the fact that Walt Disney World has the line. I like that theirs has a photo on board. I don't think I agree where the drop happens because of just like the storytelling of what's going on. I think I prefer ours, where you, like I had said, you're starting in current day, you go down the drop, and then you're back in time, as opposed to going down the drop and then you're in the battle sequence over at Walt Disney World. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to always double check because I don't want to say something wrong and then somebody's like, oh, the game doesn't know anything.
We don't need hate mail, yeah.
Yeah. So, honestly, Nikki, if you didn't say that, I was going to say Walt Disney World, but I'm going to have to give it to Disneyland based on the fact that you can have dinner in the ride.
That's pretty cool. Do you know why our drop is where it's at?
No, I don't.
So, it wasn't in opening day when Magic Kingdom opened, and everybody was kind of mad because they thought we were going to get Pirates over here as well, so they went to add it, obviously, after the fact a few years later. And Walt's original idea was that everything would be built inside of the railroad tracks that circle Magic Kingdom. Well, they didn't have the space, so they basically built the queue in the start of the ride inside the tracks. The drop takes you under the tracks, and you finish in the building that's actually basically kind of on the other side of where they are.
Got it.
So that's the whole reason that it actually is there. It really serves no purpose within the storytelling other than they had to put it there to make the ride fit the way they wanted.
It's the same thing with ours, because you can watch that video of Walt, and he's talking about the waterfall and take you back in time. But it's just to get under the railroad tracks.
Yep.
That's all it is. Yeah. So it's the same story in both.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Yeah.
All right, John, which way are you going? Wait, so Gabe, so then you ended up picking, which did you pick?
I picked Disneyland.
Okay. I should have known.
Hey, I wasn't going to vote for it until Nikki mentioned Blue Bayou.
Yeah, that does get an edge.
So far, we're not having anybody to be, the third person hasn't had to break a single tie yet.
Is it now?
Well, it's already 2-0, so it doesn't matter. Pirates is by far my favorite ride. Always has been. That is Disney to me. Growing up at Disney World, the queue is amazing. But the first time I went out to California and rode it, yeah, there is no queue. I mean, you walk a little bit outside the building if the line's long, and then you get in and you kind of just rope around and you get right on the boat. But the ride there starts off to me very much like Splash Mountain, being that you're just kind of going down a lazy little area where you have Blue Bayou, the restaurant on your right, which to us is the equivalent of the Mexican restaurant, inside the Mexico Pavilion at Epcot, where you have the restaurant right next to the boat ride. On the left, you have some little houses there. There's lightning bugs. There's, an animatronic of a guy sitting on his little house fishing and that before you get into the actual pirate. I won't say into it because it's all part of the ride, but before you get into the theming of actual pirates. But the 2 drops gives it an advantage, and it's a longer ride. The only thing I don't like about Disneyland for Pirates is the ending, right? Where you come out, you're coming out, you're just floating right next to the people who are standing there waiting. When you make that loop right around the front of the building, before you get off. I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, it does a great job of taking you out of the theming immediately. But I just think with the ride being longer, to me, I don't know. I'm giving this one to Disneyland.
Man.
So, yeah,
they're killing it over there. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to one. We're gonna go with Small World. So I think Gabe, you're up first on this one, right?
Yeah. So it's a Small World. Essentially the same thing on both coasts. The only major, really obvious difference is the outside of the attraction.
Yeah.
Yours is kind of within the same guidelines as all the other Fantasyland rides, where you have the facade, then you go inside underneath, kind of like the awning, and then you have the actual attraction where you get on. You do kind of have like a miniature version of what we have, but it's on, like I said, it's on a smaller scale. Obviously, just because of the presentation of the front of the attraction, has to be Disneyland. If it were the same, I could have given it to either or, but Mary Blair's design for the front of our Small World is just fantastic. Also, you get projections during the fireworks on ours, which is pretty cool. So if you don't get a chance to go sit in front of our castle to see fireworks, you can head over to Small World and see projections on that. So that's pretty cool. And also our fireworks shoot off like literally to the left of it, so you're gonna feel the booms in like your chest when you're standing right there in front of Small World. So my vote goes to Disneyland.
All right, John.
So 2 things here, because as you said, they're identically they're the same. There's 2 differences. One of them you already said, the fact that you're outside. Not just the scope of the outside, but the fact that there are the topiaries out there in addition to the building. Right, all that to me, just it's beautiful. Also, during the holiday season, that gets a Christmas overlay, again, which we never get at Disney World. And Disneyland, there are Disney characters throughout Small World, which there are not at Disney World. So, just going through some of the different rooms, you're going to see some of the characters in little doll forms, which, blend in seamlessly. I'm giving my nod to Disneyland.
All right, that's another. It's another win,
sad?
But I'm a little bit. But we're gonna finish off with Nikki and see if this is another clear sweep. I feel like it probably is.
It definitely is, for all 3 reasons that I had and I just heard. Yeah, it's the same. It's the facade, It's the holiday layover, which is one of the only times I will ride It's a Small World.
Same here for that matter.
And just seeing the Disney characters throughout the ride is just a cute little Easter egg that I love looking for them.
I do like seeing Stitch on the end of the surfboard with like the little Elvis bobblehead and stuff like that. I do think that's very, very cute. It's a nice addition. I knew people were up in arms over that, but that's nothing compared to the redhead. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, we're gonna move on to the next one, and we're gonna start with John on this one, and that is we're just gonna go right to the railroads. We've got one on both coasts here. Which one are you going with, John?
So I believe I'm correct. So Disney World, if it's running full capacity, we have 4 trains. You stop above Main Street, you then stop in Frontierland, and then you go around to now, what are we calling it? New Fantasyland?
That's not Fantasyland area.
It's not Toontown anymore. And then back to the front, the trains are built for mass capacity, so you forward sit on all the trains at Disney World, where at Disneyland, the seats are similar if you've ever... So, Jeremy, for you to understand, since you've not been on, the trains are similar to Animal Kingdom if you're taking the train there to Rafiki's Planet Watch, where it's just a couple rows and you sit and you face to the side of the train.
Oh, okay.
There are a lot of scenes at Disneyland for you to look at during that journey around the park, where, in Disney World, they put some, right? You go past an Indian camp and you go past some other stuff, but it's just not a ton there for it. I just think the seating is a little bit better in Disneyland, and I think all of the visual things going around the park that you get to see are an advantage as well. So I'm going to give my vote to Disneyland.
All right.
He sounded so sad when he gave it. Oh, God.
Our home park is going to win something.
I know. I'm glad we didn't put money on this thing so far. Jeez.
Well, I know there are plenty on this list that Walt Disney World will win, so don't you worry.
We've got a ways to go, but all right, Nikki, how about you?
I mean, hands down, it's Disneyland. We have more train stations. We have Main Street. We have New Orleans Square. We have Toontown, and we have Tomorrowland. I do like ours. The trains are facing, all the seats are facing to one side. You can see into.
Some of our trains do face outwards, and some of them do face forward.
The ones they run the most, face outwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get to see into Splash Mountain a little bit. I mean, what they just redid in Rivers of America, to redo it and reshape it a little for Star Wars Land is really pretty. It's beautiful. We have the whole medieval world, like what's
Primeval World.
Primeval World.
Medieval world with knights. They fight and stab.
Primeval World with all the dinosaurs in the Grand Canyon. It's old, but I never get tired of looking at it. And I just love ours. And we have the Lily Bell, which is super cool. It's the box car that Walt made for his wife, and it's super cool. You can take little train rides in that if you sign up early enough in the day. Disneyland all the way.
All right, Gabe, do I even have to ask you?
Honestly, I have a lot of really fond memories of going on the one at Walt Disney World, just because it was our honeymoon when we went, and
cool.
A lot of really fond memories of being on that. And I really love just being on the train and just seeing the park and just kind of being so in awe of the park that I didn't know and I was just getting used to. And there's a lot of emotions attached to that, but just based on the facts and how much there is to see on ours takes the cake. Like you said, the Rivers of America is, and how it's been redone has added this whole new level of entertainment to ours, where we have like new static animal figures, and even from when you're not even on the railroad and you're on like the Mark Twain, if you look at the bridge that you go across that they just built, there's a beaver underneath the bridge eating away at the supports that you're going over. So when you're on the train, you don't know that that's happening, but there's a beaver trying to kill you. So that's always really fun to see. But I would have to give the edge to Disneyland because of all the reasons that have already been said.
All right. Another clear-cut winner. Okay, we're gonna move on next to Toy Story Midway Mania.
This might be a slugfest.
Yeah, and then this one we're starting with Nikki. So lucky you.
Yikes. Which park is it in?
So Midway Mania is in Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World.
Ours
Ours is in California Adventure.
I know that.
Okay, just checking.
Did we ride it?
No, we did not ride it because we were trying to save time, and we're like, we have that ride. Okay. But the outside of theirs kind of has more of the, you feel like a toy, because all the toys are really big with the big blocks and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's how that feels.
I don't know. Ours is just, I mean, it might look a little different once they finish Pixar Pier, but I mean, I like the ride, but other than, do they have a giant Mr. Potato Head?
They did not, but no. I think they're getting one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right? Are you guys getting one with Toy Story Land?
I don't know. I'm not even sure because they're switching. They have to move the entire entrance from one side of the building to the other. And I don't know how they'll work in the existing queue and if they may add Potato Head. I'd love to get them. So not 100% sure yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's kind of the situation. Strike my comment from the record.
I mean, just because we didn't ride the one in Florida, and I'm not as savvy as looking stuff up on the internet as you, I think I'm going to have to default to California Adventure because of Mr. Potato Head.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
All right, how about you, Gabe?
Yeah.
Have you done enough searching on YouTube to make a good comparison?
Oh man, I knew about this ride before even stepping foot in that park. You've discussed a lot of the points, Nikki. You know, the theming is very, very different. You know, ours is set on like the beach theme on the coast, boardwalk feel. But the one piece that I think ours is really missing is the feel of being a toy. I don't feel like I'm a toy there at all. Like, Toy Story is supposed to make you feel small. I want to feel small, and I don't feel small. I do like our theming, but because Walt Disney World has the big, barrel of monkeys going across, and then they have all the blocks and stuff, I like that theming a lot more than ours, so my vote goes to Walt Disney World, simply because also the inside is the same.
Are you the first person to vote for Walt Disney World?
Yeah. You're my new best friend.
John's going to love it because now he actually gets to decide which one wins. Yeah, this is the
deciding factor, John. Don't mess this up.
It comes to me. The pressure might be too much. Yeah, I mean, well, the rides are similar. And the first time I ever rode it there in California Adventure, I did enjoy it because it broke down while I was on it. After about 15, 20 minutes, they couldn't get it going, so we all had to get off and walk off the ride.
Cool.
Cool. Which was great. We got fast passes.
Did you touch everything? I would touch everything.
Yeah, we got fast passes, which we were able to use for Nemo. So, so it turned into something that we get to go on that we don't have by us. When you take the land there at Hollywood Studios and the fact of the theming of the outside, we now have 3 tracks. They added on to it. Capacity of that thing is a consistent 60 to 90 minute standby wait all the time. And so fast passes go quick. Now here with June 30th is the opening of Toy Story Land, where obviously we're going to add 2 more rides. They are moving our entrance queue for Toy Story Mania, but the theming will be even that much more. So Florida gets its first victory. Toy Story Mania in Florida gets this one.
All right.
So not to dig the knife deeper on ours, but I hate how our extended queue just is outside the building. It's just so sloppy looking.
Oh, yeah.
Like all the little rope queues and fences and stuff, it just looks terrible. I wish it was like indoors.
We don't go on it without a fast pass.
Yeah, you don't see it, and then you have that much more walkway room for everybody that's walking through. I hate that. I wish the only thing that weenie of Mr. Potato Head, that's all I want there, but we don't have that. So,
yeah.
Like we have to have the ropes on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hope we get the Mr. Potato Head with these changes. I would love to see that. So we'll know June 30th, I guess, maybe a little bit sooner. But so we're We're going to stay in a little bit of the same vein. I feel like this one isn't a contest for the simple fact that you guys guns remove on this ride, but Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters versus our Space Ranger Spin. And this is starting off with you there, Gabe.
I don't think I've been more angry on a ride than when I was on Space Ranger Spin.
Are you trying to rip them out of the ride vehicle?
Like I was just like, just like shaking it back and forth. My score was like 2. I don't know. Like I was just so mad. Like the picture is me like red faced and Nikki's like, just like taking the picture. So I'm not even gonna say any more than just ours. I don't want to relive the anger. Ours wins.
I don't blame you. All right, John.
Just the fact that you can remove the guns and hold them while you're shooting things gets my vote, as opposed to them just being attached to the ride vehicle. You sometimes have to be a magician to, move it with one hand, try and point and aim with the other one. California wins this one.
All right, Nikki.
Yeah, hands down, California wins. Yeah, I was just as angry as Gabe, but I guess I didn't show it as much. I was so mad when we got off that ride.
It is ridiculous.
Also, did you hear the story that happened to us? I think did we say it on ours? Did we say it on Rich's show?
You said it several times.
The story of when we went on yours, like we walked up and we were about to get on the ride, everything shuts down and we just see cast members like running. And we're like, what's happening right now? And some cast member comes out, and I'm like, "What's going on?" Like everything stopped. She goes, "Some kid peed in the car, and now he's running outside of the car." I'm like, "What?" Wow. So he's just running around the car. So they supposedly wrangled the child and put him back in the car and started the ride again, or something. So
fun, yeah. That kid was so
good
mad
times.
That his guns wouldn't remove that he just wet himself right there on the ride to prove a point. I'm glad you didn't
times
have to
at Magic
do that.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't say I didn't, but I mean,
out of pure anger. All right. Well, John's going to kick off this next one with the first vote, and we are moving over to Haunted Mansion.
Ooh. So, Haunted Mansion, in California, I love the building on the outside. It's just that nice southern plantation. It fits the area well. I like the holiday overlay. I wish we had it. I like the fact that California has the Hatbox Ghost, which we don't have. But now you flip to Disney World, and it's no comparison. I just think, the building's a little bit more secluded, so it makes it a little creepier. They've added more things to the outside of the queue. The effects on the inside are better, just that, because they're not identical when you get into them. So we have, I think, a little bit more of a story. You also have the room with the stairs and the feet going up and down the stairs and all that. So Disney World for Haunted Mansion for me.
All right. Getting another vote over here for Disney World. I like it. How about you, Nikki?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, you can't really say a bad thing about Florida's Haunted Mansion. The outside is beautiful. The queue is so much fun and interactive, and I love the room with the stairs. I absolutely love it.
The MC Escher stairs?
Yes, I love it. And the blinking wallpaper and just so many fun things. I love our Hatbox Ghost, but there's really no contest. So Florida wins. All
right. Gabe, how about you? You going same way here? Same vote?
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to.
Yeah.
I mean, I do want to say that, our Haunted Mansion has a lot of redeeming factors. John, you've already said a few of them. You have Hatbox Ghost, you have the overlays, the overlay for Christmas/Halloween. It's the original. There's a lot of good things to it, and I do love the plantation style home, but there's something about Walt Disney World's in the architecture, because it sits in Liberty Square, lends itself to being a lot bigger, and it's rather foreboding. It sits up on this hill, so it's kind of like looming over you in a way, as well as the addition of the interactive elements in the line outside in the queue, which is fantastic, which I love. The instruments, the books, you have to say the spell from the book, the rhythm, the rhyming thing, the bubbles coming out of the captain's crypt area. You know, all that stuff is really cool. And I remember going on it and for the first time, and when I saw the eyes blinking, and I was like, what's that? And then it kind of slowly transitioned into the wallpaper. My face just freaking melted. I was like, ah! It's so cool! So, I do have to say, though, John, that there are a couple elements in that ride that do seem dated. Like there's a shadow on the floor that looks like it's like playing the piano.
Yeah.
Like if you compare that to like the guy who's playing our piano in the attic, you could tell one's digital, one's not. The one in Walt Disney World's not digital. It almost looks like a puppet, kind of like the hand that goes over the clock. It's kind of similar to that. So I do think there are some dated things at Walt Disney World, but that so does not take away from it at all. There's just this grand nature to Walt Disney World that I just think is phenomenal. And also you got the hitchhiking ghosts that are like digital and can swap people's heads.
Yeah,
that's
super
pretty cool.
fun.
Which is always fun. Yeah, so we got another big win here for Disney World. How exciting! We're gonna move over next, and Nikki, you're gonna kick this one off. You guys have Ariel's Undersea Adventure, and we have Under the Sea, the Voyage of the Little Mermaid. Which way are you leaning on these?
Okay. Are both the rides the same? We rode both.
It's pretty much the same.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know. Ours isn't much from the outside. It's kind of on the other side of Pixar Pier. I mean, it's a cool, like, building. There's, like, King Triton at the top, but there's not much.
It's like a beachfront feel
Yeah,
again.
there's not much to our entrance. I mean, the one in Florida is a lot better themed. You have an Ariel meet and greet right there, which is really cool. I don't really know what else to say about it, really.
It's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's really the queue that makes
It's
the
the
difference.
queue. Yeah, so I'd say Florida wins out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Gabe? Is that
My
Ariel meet and greet just sealing the deal for you, or what?
It ain't the Ariel meet and greet. It's the sexy King Triton statue across the street.
There you go. Yeah.
I took a picture with that. Are you kidding me? I put my hand on his chest and everything. For the same argument that I made for Toy Story Midway Mania, you know, as much as I do like the kind of like beachfront boardwalk feel to ours, I feel like I'm going into the movie at Walt Disney World because of the rock work and kind of walking through those like caverns and then getting on the attraction.
Yeah.
So, and then also you have that really cool like sculpture of Ariel that almost looks like she's the front of a ship.
Yeah.
Too, which is really pretty. So 100% vote goes towards the Magic Kingdom version.
All right. John, you making it a clean sweep here for this one? Oh, did we lose him?
Maybe.
Okay, no, I'm here.
He's there.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome back to
Yep.
the show.
I'm happy to be back through the power of hitting the unmute button. It's amazing what you can do.
Love it.
Clean sweep for Magic Kingdom on this one. The one thing I'll say about both of these rides, I think they're both in lousy locations. So, like, the Disney World one is tucked behind Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. You got Be Our Guest to the side, and then on the other side you have everybody who's heading to like the new Fantasyland area and all that. To me, it gets overlooked. Like, the queue is built to handle. It is a long queue that is never used. Yeah. Like, maybe you'll see next week in spring break. Maybe that'll be the one peak time. But this is a 5 to 10 or 15 minute wait always. I mean, it's just, and I think it's a good upbeat, just, you like that music. It's a good ride. The effects are neat. And, Disneyland just sticking it there. That took the place of, what was it?
It was Golden Dreams.
Golden Dreams.
Golden Dreams, the wonderful Whoopi Goldberg movie.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God, that was wonderful.
But that's another one where I don't know what your lines are like, but when I've been there, it's a walk-on every single time.
Yeah.
So
it's almost always a walk-on unless it's busy.
And then extended queue sucks, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, Disney World wins it just because of the queue, even though most of the time you are breezing through that queue.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, we're gonna go on move next, and let's see. This is going to go to Gabe, and we're talking Jungle Cruise.
So did we go on the Jungle Cruise over there?
We sure did.
We did?
Yeah.
I barely remember. Oh, you know what? 100%
There's like a tunnel part. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the tunnel. Mm-hmm. Hands down. I mean, I hate the fact that I'm voting for theirs and Walt actually touched ours.
That should not be a factor, Gabe.
It's a fact. It's not emotions. Well, maybe it's a little emotions.
It's all emotion.
Okay, maybe. But it's cool that Walt touched ours and kind of shaped ours. That's really cool. You have pictures of him standing in the attraction and stuff like that. But hands down, because of the kind of different environments you kind of go through at Walt Disney World, I'm going to give it to them. I love that cave portion. That cave portion was really fun. Yeah. I really thought that was cool because I was not expecting it. That was one of the few rides that I didn't look at a flow through. Like, I didn't look at a POV at all. I just kind of wanted to experience a, quote, classic attraction kind of firsthand.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed theirs. I do like ours with the, the Cambodian, ancient Cambodian Shriners, the Cambodian shrines built by ancient Cambodian Shriners. Like, I love all that. And it just feels a bit weird that on ours, when you first start, you're right next to the queue for Indiana Jones. Like, for me, that completely takes you out of it. Like, they made it into the jokes and stuff like that. And that's great that they put it back in, like, in the storyline. But I don't like how it's like, we're going into the jungle. Oh, wait, here's a queue for a ride. Sorry, guys. That takes me out of it a little bit. But, and I like our Trader Sam a bit more than the cartoony Trader Sam. But overall, I would have to give it to Walt Disney World. Okay.
All right. How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm giving it to Walt Disney World. I usually just overlook that cave just because, to me, Florida, heat, humidity, depending when you're riding it, it's musty. It sometimes has a weird odor when you go through that cave. It's just kind of, it's there, and seeing the tiger in there and the snake, they just look extremely fake. I mean, it's just, but not having it and going through Jungle Cruise without it, you realize you kind of miss it a little bit. So I, as I said, I'm sticking with Magic Kingdom. It's a little bit longer of a ride just because of the cave, and I like the theming outside. There's nothing realistically around it other than you do have the tree house to the left, but it's not bearing right down on top of it, so it's kind of a little bit secluded. I do miss the fact of when I was little and the ride wasn't politically correct, and they would allow the kids to get up and steer the boat, which was always fun. And the other part they used to do is they used to shoot the hippo. So, yeah. Now you can't kill a hippo, an animatronic hippo at that either. But yeah, when they took the fake guns off the boat, that was a sad day.
Yeah, they're endangered animatronic hippos.
Yep.
Those are the only ones left in the world, so they've got to protect them. But
wait, your guns are not fake guns? Wait, no, I'm serious. No, because ours, they have like blanks in them.
Ours didn't it play through the
speaker? Is yours just an audio file that plays?
No. Years ago, it was a blank that shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because at Disneyland they have like the blanks and they have to reload them.
But they shoot them up into the air.
We don't even have them anymore. There is not a gun on Jungle Cruise at all.
That's kind of lame.
Wow.
Yeah, at least ours, he's like, we have to scare him off. I'm going to shoot him in the air. But one time I went on and he's like, all these lovely hippos. Oh no, ninja hippos. And he starts shooting in the trees.
That was funny. I love when they go rogue with their jokes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can have a different ride every time, which is always fun. But so which way are you going there, Nikki?
I'm also going to have to go Walt Disney World.
Right.
I love ours. I love riding it, but there's just something that's a little bit more grand about Florida's. Everything's just a little bit bigger and cooler. So yeah, what everyone else said, I'm just going with Walt Disney World. Okay,
well that's 3 clean sweeps in a row here, and I think we're gonna head back over to the West Coast on this next one. I just have a feeling. John, this is going to be you. We're going to do Indiana Jones Adventure and Dinosaur, and we're counting these since they are basically the exact same ride system. So we went ahead and grouped those two together. What are you going with, John? I think I know your answer.
Yeah, I'm going with Indiana Jones. The queue is amazing for Indiana Jones.
You're my new best friend.
Yeah, the first time I rode Indiana Jones and you go underneath the rolling ball or rock, whatever you want to say, that was like, this is the greatest thing ever. That was great. Where it's just neat. Dinosaur is just, it's loud, it's dark, the dinosaurs are there. I hate the pre-show. Who's Felicia Rashad is the
Claire
one
Huxtable.
who.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we got her at her peak, right? Right about the time of the Cosby Show, and we're never changing this video. It's more. So Dinosaur is scary. Indiana Jones is more fun. It's supposed to be scary, but it's more fun. And then Dinosaur is also where it is in Animal Kingdom. That thing is tucked back. That you can't even find where the thing is.
No.
So it's like, people going there for the first time would be like, I knew there was a ride here called Dinosaur. Did you ride it? No, couldn't find it. I have no idea where this giant building is. So Indiana Jones in a landslide on this one.
All right. How about you, Nikki?
Yeah, I mean, Dinosaur was fun. We rode it twice. We had a bunch of fun on it. But even when we were on it, I know both of us were, we would make a turn and in our heads would be like, oh, this is this scene in Indiana Jones.
Because
and
the tracks are identical.
It's identical, and then we turn here and we're like, oh, this is where Indy is by the big door, and so, we found ourselves just kind of like enjoying the ride, but being like, I miss Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's no contest. The queue for Indiana Jones is phenomenal. The ride is so much fun. You can ride it 1,000 times and not be bored. It's a blast. And yeah, there's hands down Indiana Jones wins.
Okay. Finish us up on this one, Gabe.
I mean, you know where I'm going with this, so
Yep.
it's quite obvious. So you
I already
can mark
marked
it
the
down
box.
already. Yeah, you already marked it. I do have to say that my favorite part of Dinosaur was watching all the kids coming off of it crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably pretty awesome. I do like Dinosaur a lot simply because it was scary. And for me, I'm a horror guy. I love horror movies. I like scary things. I love haunts. So when I get on a ride that like kids are coming off crying, I'm like, I gotta check this thing out. So I did really enjoy it a lot. I thought it was really fun when the big dinosaur is like running next to your vehicle. There was actually a moment where I actually got real, like, it gave me, like, chills because the audio, like, something happened where I wasn't expecting it. I was like, I didn't like that sound. But, Indiana Jones, I'm biased, obviously, because this is my favorite ride that Disney has created, hands down. Okay. It's my favorite movie of all time as well, so extremely biased. I am an Indiana Jones kid, born and raised. Know all the movies by heart. I quote them all the time, and Nikki's like, shut up. And for every reason that everybody else has said, the queue is incredible. You walk in, you have this very ambient music that isn't overbearing, that really sets the kind of like this foreboding tone to the attraction, where you're walking through the bat caves, you're walking through the temple, you're walking into the room where the spikes are. It's like you're right behind Indiana Jones. You're right like 10 steps behind him because he's setting all these up so that you don't get killed with all these traps. And then you have the fantastic nod to where it was built in the room where you're watching the safety video and you look behind you. You see a big Eeyore parking lot sign that was placed up by the projector in the back of the room. So if you ask like a cast member to show you with the flashlight, they'll show you. The Mara font 2, being able to decode everything within the attraction with a decoder that you could get from what you could get from the store across the street, which is now just a place to sit, which is very sad. But on top of that, the boulder, the snake. I really wish that the doors were working, because before the walls would move to make it look like you're truly going through different doors, and now they changed it so it's map projections to make it look like you're going through different doors. But I could gush about it all day long. Just Indiana Jones all the way.
Man,
when the ride first opened, did they used to give you the decoder cards, correct?
Yeah, for a good long time they actually gave you like a colored version of the decoder, and you could go through and you could look at everything. And then after a while they stopped, and then at the Indiana Jones Outpost, which was across the street, which like I had said is now just a seating area for Bengal barbecue, you could ask for the decoder, and it was just like a piece of printer paper that people had cut out, and it was black and white, but you could still get it and go through the line and sit there. Like if it's like a 2-hour wait, you don't care, because you're like, oh, we're gonna find out what this code says on that wall, and usually it's like you're gonna die, and it's like, ah.
Well, you'll appreciate this then, Gabe. The first time we took my youngest daughter on Dinosaur, which she was probably 5, she might have been 6, And we just got to the end, and I looked at her, and yeah, her eyes were welling up, and tears were starting to come down, and she was just like, she said, "Why did you think that would be a good idea?" I was like, I don't know. I'd never ridden it either, so yeah, you would have appreciated that one. But all right, so
funny.
Very easy, clean sweep there. We're gonna move on to Nikki for our next ride, and this is gonna be Big Thunder Mountain. Was it called Big Thunder Mountain with you guys too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Thunder Mountain.
So. Yeah. This one's tough. I mean, I think the Florida ride is a little bit more fun. Like it's more thrilling. I I just realized I think I'm leaning towards, like, in my head, my only like fighting point for Disneyland's was the goat with holding the dynamite, and I'm like that's not a good fighting point.
I did miss the goat.
Hey,
goats are good fighting points, Nikki. Do not underestimate a goat. So
Disneyland has one part where you go around kind of really quick, and there's a goat, and if you turn your head and you stare at the goat, you kind of sink into your seat a little bit more, and you feel the tight turn a little bit more. And while that is fun, I have to say that Florida's ride is more thrilling, more exciting. It's a more fun ride overall.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're giving it to Disneyland.
I'm giving it to Disneyland
Just
because of
handing
the
it
goat.
right over.
No, Florida wins.
The goat wins it all. I'm not voting for either ride. I'm giving it to the goat.
Just the goat. The goat.
Goat wins. This one's actually pretty rough because, ours got an update pretty recently where you have these, near the climax. Well, it's hard to say a climax of a ride because there's 3 lifts in the ride, so it's kind of hard to say like climax. But on the 3rd lift, you go up the hill, and there's throughout the entire line, you see if you see a red lantern, don't go in there. If you see a white lantern, it's safe because the red lanterns mean they're going to be exploding some dynamite pretty soon. You turn the corner after this good head chopper moment, and there's just red lanterns everywhere, and you're like, ah, crap. And then you see these little projections of the light going on the fuse, and gonna kind of following the fuses all the way to these big rocks, and then you have these explosions of smoke, and then when it does work, there's projections on it too to kind of make it look like debris.
It almost never works anymore.
Almost never works. But that's really cool, and I really enjoyed that. But, that doesn't make a ride for me. That's a cool addition to the ride, but it doesn't make a ride. My vote is going to have to go to Walt Disney World because the queue is interactive now. Yep. I like their queue a lot more, just kind of the way it was designed. Ours is very blah, and they could change it however they want to, where it's kind of weird. I don't know. It doesn't really flow right. I don't like it. But Walt Disney World also has this really cool Easter egg of almost like a sinister Tony Baxter on a portrait, which is really cool. And also the fact that you already start in a mine over there, and you're already in there. Ours, you're starting outside, then you go down to the bats, and then go up another lift. But 100% Walt Disney World's.
All right. How about you, John?
You might have talked me into Disney World on this one. There's a couple things I liked about Disneyland. So number one, I do like the queue in that with it being outside and that you're actually under the train. You're right. To me, you're there. You do have to go up that staircase. So it's where Disney World has the ramps that once you're inside the building that you go through.
I don't know about you, but those staircases are made to have your face in someone else's butt, and I don't like it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So it's all proper placement for who's in front of you. The the effect of the dynamite blowing up, it was working when I was on it last year and was amazing. If we had that effect, it wouldn't even be a consideration. I mean, Disney World hands down would win. That effect is just awesome because when the dynamite blows and you see the pieces go off and the smoke starts coming down, it just makes it. But I like where Thunder Mountain is located at Disney World. I like when you make the curve, you're making the curve right there at the waterway. Visually, I just think it's nicer. So I am giving my vote on this one to Disney World, but I sure wish we had those effects.
Yeah, I think there's rumors of them potentially adding them before the 50th anniversary, which would be pretty amazing.
I've heard those rumors pretty heavily as of recently.
Yeah.
And I do want to say that, like, on your point, John, like, its location is beautiful. But it's weird for us because when we went, we're like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that should be, like, where Splash Mountain is, but then, like, Haunted Mansion's where our Thunder Mountain is, and it's a weird switch around. It just threw us for a loop.
Yeah.
It did.
But see, where your Thunder Mountain is, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense, right? You walk past the churro carts, you kind of turn right, and it's like, oh, there's Thunder Mountain.
Yeah,
much.
It's all on its own.
I mean, Frontierland in general for us is really not that big. It's just Thunder Mountain, really. Like, that's pretty much it. I mean, the Explorer canoes, which technically are Frontierland.
They're all the way over.
You
in
get
Critter
on them
Country.
in Critter Country, so that doesn't even make sense. So I don't know. I mean, I agree. Frontierland's kind of wonky.
All right. Well, we got we've got Disney World making a bit of a comeback here, so we're gonna move on. And Gabe, this is gonna be you for the ever exciting Astro Orbiter.
Watch your mouth. This is a family show. Just a quick update. What is the score at right now? Because I want to know.
We are at 8-5 in favor
8-5
of you guys.
Okay, 8-5 favor of us.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna just be throwing it on our side again because for Astro Orbiter, even though I didn't go on it at Walt Disney World, I saw it. I don't really go on it at Disneyland that often. But I'm going to have to give it to Disneyland simply based on the fact that it's at the very entrance of our Tomorrowland. And although it does create this weird crowd flow situation, it's a really awesome visual. When you're standing in the hub and you're looking off at Tomorrowland, you see the jets flying around the top, and then you also have these really awesome gold, bronze colored rocks that are kind of jutting out towards it. It's just a really cool visual of Tomorrowland, and I really like it, as opposed to the Walt Disney World's in the Magic Kingdom. So Disneyland it is for me.
Okay. All right. How about you, John?
I am heading a different way on this one. So while visually I like Disneyland, if I'm going to be on a rocket, I want to feel like I'm actually getting off the ground. And so that one is right there on the ground, no different than Dumbo or, any of those other rides. Where Disney World, you got to take the elevator up. It's up in the air, gives it that extra little bit of thrill there because you're above everything in Tomorrowland, which to me, that's what you should be on if you're on a rocket. So I am going with Disney World on this one.
Okay. All right. We have a very rare tiebreaker, so all the pressure's on you, Nikki.
It is a lot of pressure.
I'm entertained by this.
Yeah. I mean, I love where it's a disembodied voice just spoke to me.
A disembodied voice joins you in your carriage.
I think it worked. No, I love where it's located in Disneyland. I love how it's the forefront of Tomorrowland. It's very picturesque, but I
this is grounds for divorce, by the way.
I have to give it to Walt Disney World because I do love that it's up high, and I agree. Like it would be a lot more thrilling to be that much higher off the ground when you're on a ride that is basically Dumbo, so it just adds a little bit more excitement to it having it be that elevated. So yeah, I'm giving it to Walt Disney World. I'm sorry, Gabe.
All right, Disney World with another win,
theme park
major comebacks
solo.
here.
Theme park solo.
Oh man! All right, so we're gonna go next, and this is gonna be for John. Over on the West Coast, we have Autopia, and I guess I'm pronouncing that right. And then we have our Tomorrowland Speedway here at Walt Disney World. Which way?
Thank you for pronouncing it right, by the way.
And you guys, I want to hear a little bit about the similarities between these two, because I'm so over Tomorrowland Speedway. Is it very similar out in?
Well, so I guess go first. So Speedway, you're supposed to be in a race and it's in Tomorrowland, and the cars are more race car themed, even though they're only doing 6 miles an hour. The track is fine. It's a race, supposed to be a race track. The cars are a little bit more cartoonish in California, right? A little bit bigger. They don't have that same, to me, race car theme. Also, I think the track, you go through some different areas. You even go off-roading at one point. So I give Disneyland the pick on this, even though I don't love where it's at. It's kind of wedged in there, between, I guess, would that have been, is it Carousel of Progress?
Yeah.
To the right.
Yeah. Which is now Star Wars Lunch Bay.
Okay.
Not Lunch Bay, Launch Bay. I don't know why I said it that way.
I was like, man, he's got a Star Wars lunch spot? That's awesome.
No, and before that was the Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well. So, it's there. I mean, Q doesn't matter as much. I mean, I like the racetrack theme of Disney World. I like the fact that, if somebody doesn't want to ride it, they could go sit in the bleachers and watch the race, which that must be thrilling for those people. I want to sit on a metal bench and watch cars go 6 miles an hour. But, I just think it's more fun out at Disneyland, and I like the whole theming of it. Now they've added the Honda is now one of the sponsors, so there's some robots and Osimo there. So I like it. I give this one to Disneyland.
All right, Nikki, you're up.
Okay. Full disclosure, we did not ride the Speedway when we were in Walt Disney World.
We did stare at it, though.
We did stare at it for a good long time.
That's more exciting than actually riding it, to be honest.
And from all of the helpful hints from friends telling us to avoid it, I mean, I think that can also sway me in the direction of Disneyland. And while we don't ride Autopia all the time, I do think it is fun, and it's you do go through a lot of different places, and you see things along the way. And now they added all the fun little Osimo robots, and they're doing different things along the track. And so, yeah, I give it to Disneyland.
Okay. All right. That's very fair. How about you, Gabe? I could take a stab in the dark here, but I'm gonna let you talk anyway.
I'm gonna give it to Disneyland for sure. I like the environments that it goes through, based on what I saw versus Walt Disney World. I do think it's a little bit more picturesque. You have the submarines kind of going on the left of the entire area. You get to go a little bit closer to the Matterhorn as well, which is pretty cool. And I do like the addition of all the Honda stuff because they pepped everything up. It got a new paint job that it desperately needed. The cars look great now. They all have Honda colors, apparently. Like, all the cars are only Honda colors, so you don't see a color that you can't get in a Honda car, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
You can get the driver's licenses again.
Yeah, you can get the driver's licenses. And as opposed to Walt Disney World, where I hear like a lot of adults kind of like, I hate that ride so much.
Yeah.
I see a lot of adults really have a lot of fun on ours. And most recently, we were waiting at the train station in Tomorrowland, which is right behind Autopia. And I saw this old Asian guy. He had his pedal all the way down. He wasn't even driving. He was just like, yes! Like slapping his hands together with a huge smile on his face because he was just so happy. And his car was just like, gonk, gonk. And he didn't care it was hitting. He was just having so much fun. And when I see people like that having a blast, even though it's like they drive every day, what does it matter? When people have fun like that, and like I see a dad and his son going on it for the first time, or like a little kid who gets to drive by themselves for the first time, it brings a smile to my face, and that's Disney magic too. That happens there, and I absolutely love all of that. So hands down to Disneyland.
So let's talk driver's license. So Disney World used to give them out. They haven't given them out in decades. Disneyland was giving out driver's license. And then the last time I was there, last year, no driver's license, but there was a little photo booth where you can go in, get a picture, and buy a license. So what's the status now?
I do remember that during its run as when it was presented by Chevron, They did give the cards out, but they did start giving them out again when it was Honda. I don't know if it's still going on, but I do have a couple of them, which I actually found the other day when I was looking for something else.
The booths are open.
But he's saying that they sell stuff in there, which they do have like a little disposable one still, but I don't know if they still give them out. I do have some, though.
It might be attached to the photo
sure.
pass.
Maybe, I'm not quite sure. Not sure.
I'm not sure. Maybe if you have the photo pass, you can print it out. I'm not sure how it works, so we haven't done it, but I know that the kiosks are back open.
Yeah. One thing that's similar, you get high on fumes.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, we're gonna go to Nikki for this next one. So don't get too excited over it, but Dumbo.
Wah!
Walt Disney World's wins because ours is gone now. It's a big pit.
Ours is coming back.
It's not gone for
back.
sure. They're refurbishing the whole thing.
Yeah.
So like when you go on Storybook Land canal boats and stuff, you can look in and it's like it's just gone. They just got rid of the thing.
Oh,
It's coming
okay.
back. It's coming back.
It's coming back. Refresh my memory. In Walt Disney World, is it under a tent? Where is it?
No, it's not under a tent. It's by the tent.
It's by the tent.
Yeah, because remember you could go into the tent with the pager,
Yeah.
which is really cool. So you could go
Okay.
wait in there and go
Okay, I
mess
remember.
around and then go back in line.
I remember the tent was vivid in my mind. I'm not sure why.
Because it's Dumbo circus.
I like where it is in Disneyland. I like that it's in Fantasyland. It's kind of a main feature of Fantasyland. Like I know the carousel is supposed to be like the centerpiece, but for me, I always think about Dumbo as like the centerpiece, the main thing in Disneyland, in Fantasyland that you just stare at and look at, and I like where it is there. So I think that on its own is gonna make me pick Disneyland.
Okay.
I just love the location.
Oh man, this is rough. I really like ours a lot because of the way it's designed.
And it's prettier.
Yeah, well, if we had opening day Dumbo, hands down, Walt Disney World. But now it's a tougher choice because technically our Dumbo, I think I'm correct in saying this, we actually got Paris's Dumbo version. That's why ours looks so different.
Yeah, I think so.
And its design and kind of how it's made, and it's really pretty to look at. But I'm not looking at it when I'm on it. When you're on Dumbo, you're staring at the mechanics.
A little bit.
See, I'm like looking out into the area, and I'm not staring at it. So for me, like the design of the attraction itself doesn't really kind of play into my choice. I might actually have to give it to Walt Disney World simply because they have that really cool circus tent that kind of helps with the queue and the line, because ours is just like that small little cramped area that you have to sit in and wait, where there's not that much shade. And now at Walt Disney World, you could go into a whole tent and go relax in some air conditioning and not have to worry about standing in line. You have a beeper in your hand? Hell yeah, send me to the air conditioning.
All right, John, you're the tiebreaker here. Don't upset me.
So, before so I go on the opposite side. So when we had Dumbo back behind the carousel, I thought Disneyland's was better the first time I saw it and everything. It was more visually appealing. Now that ours has been moved, and now that we have two of them, right? So you have the two Dumbo rides, you have the tent, you got the play area inside, and everything. I think that ride now is the focal point of that area, because really it's just that, and then it's the Barnstormer, which is, for us, the Barnstormer is yours, Gadget Go Coaster. Disney World wins on this one. I mean, the Dumbos, just two rides in the tent. The thing's huge. It's a great attraction now.
Perfect. All right, another win for Disney World. We're going to move on to Mad Tea Party, and that's all you, Gabe.
Okay, so, they're the same ride. One's covered, one's not. You do have the fabulous view of Matterhorn Mountain right next to you, which takes you out of the theming completely, but it's still really pretty to look at. Based on the fact that Walt Disney World is covered, I'm going to have to give it to it because on those hot summer days, and you put your hands on that teacup, it's like you don't even want to touch it because you're like your skin's just gonna fall off because it's getting cooked while you're trying to spin and have fun. Nothing's fun about third-degree burns.
Nothing at all. All right. All right, John, how about you?
Yeah, sure. We'll give it for the cover. I mean, they're the same exact ride. On it, the only thing that's neat in California is there is a teacup off to the side that you could sit in and get a picture in. But otherwise, they're the same. I give this one Disney World just again, because it's covered.
Okay. All right. You going with cover, Nikki, or you
I
gonna
am.
stray?
Same
All right.
thing.
Yay,
Yeah,
covered.
Covered. Woo. Also, the rare times it does rain in California,
They really become teacups.
you can't ride it. Like we were there like a week ago, and it rained like overnight, and they had to run the teacups for like the first 2 hours the park was open with no one in it, just trying to dry it out.
Oh wow.
So covered
Pretty
wins.
much. Yeah.
All right, another win for Disney World. All right, John, you're up next with your all-time favorite ride to wait in line for, Peter Pan.
I'm really interested to see what he has to say on this.
I am
one.
too.
Really, really interested.
We love talking Disney World's Peter Pan because of the outrageous wait times consistently.
We rope dropped ours recently.
Oh yeah, you
Just
have
so
to.
you
It's
could
either that
ride
or
it.
Fast Pass, or you're not riding it. Yep.
We don't
We
have
don't
fast
have
pass.
Fast Pass.
Right. Well, I mean out in
Oh,
Disney
Walter-
World, you've got either
Yeah.
rope drop or Fast Pass the Disney World one, or you're just not riding it. So which way are you going, John?
So to me, it's unique. I like Disneyland Fantasyland to me is neat because there's so many rides there, but they are just packed in right next to each other, which is good. You don't have to go far, but it also takes away some of the theming, right? It's just one right next to another on top of each other. Where Peter Pan having its own area right across from Small World fits. The queue is better at Disney World. Peter Pan wise, just with the interactive stuff and all that. So I'm once you're inside, for the most part, as much as I can recollect, the rides are similar. So I am giving this one to Disney World, as long as I don't have to wait 70 minutes to ride it.
Perfect. All right. How about you, Nikki?
I feel like ours is a little bit better when you actually ride the ride, right? Like it's a little bit updated. They have a few new
They just recently
projections.
did this huge refurb on it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so it's I know ours is technically better, like when you ride it. It's tough. I want to give it partially to Walt Disney World because you can fast pass it. No, I think I'm just going to have to give it to Disneyland because of the refurb it just had. And it's a little bit nicer on the inside.
Okay. All right. You're the tiebreaker there, Gabe.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Disneyland. To me, it's like almost no contest. I do have to agree that everything is kind of smushed together in Fantasyland for ours, but the way that all the buildings are kind of designed, they all have somewhat their own identity to what kind of storyline they're telling. Because we still have Mr. Toad's that almost looks like a little bit of a mansion. For our Peter
So you had
Pan,
to bring that up, didn't you? my
Sore subject, my
favorite,
bad.
my favorite ride that I ended up losing to Winnie the Pooh, but that's okay. I get to go to California and ride it every couple of years.
literally, your ride got pooed on. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So, and then also the architecture for Peter Pan is I don't even know how to describe it, but you have like this huge clock tower up front as well. Everything is very quaint, as opposed to Walt Disney World, which I am actually not a big fan of the way everything kind of is set up over there. It all kind of feels very Carnival-esque to me with the way the Fantasyland rides are set up. They feel very similar to the way our Fantasyland used to look like before we got like that refurb way back when. And then once you get on the ride, ours is just leaps and bounds better with regards to the technology. A lot of more projections, a lot more additions to like the cityscape scene, where you can see traffic moving and water flowing in the river, and there's little itty-bitty cartoon figures of Peter Pan, Wendy, and all them landing on Big Ben, like on the clock hands and everything if you look really close. Other than that, like, most of the stuff is pretty, like, static figures moving and that kind of thing, but there are some really cool details still in there when they did the update, so my vote is for Disneyland's.
All right, Disneyland with another win. We are going to move on to Splash Mountain. And Nikki, you are up first for this one.
Oh, this is rough. This is rough.
This is rough. They're kind of drastically different.
They're almost not the same ride.
Yeah, it's so difficult. Like, ours is, like, scary and dark. And, like, you kind of feel like your soul's being sucked out a little bit. And, like, Florida, Walt Disney World is more lighthearted. It has a more happy atmosphere that kind of took away all the doom and gloom. They have a few really cool projections in Walt Disney World where it's like the scene where Peter Rabbit's like hopping away.
Peter Rabbit.
I don't know why I said Peter
Brer
Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Brer Rabbit, where he's like hopping away.
You're gonna get kicked out of this show.
It never happened.
Oh, it wasn't a projection. He was actually an animatronic.
It was an animatronic.
Yeah, he was like hopping along.
I feel like I don't know.
Well, think about it also, like, just kind of the way everything's set up too. Think about it that way as well. So maybe it'll help you.
No, that doesn't help me.
Just choose one.
Which drop is bigger?
They're both the same, probably.
Okay.
See, this is where Nikki's indecisive comes into
It's
play.
getting serious now. We're getting down to the wire, so every vote matters.
What's the score right now?
We're at 10-8 in favor of, you guys.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I like ours no, I don't know. Oh my
gosh, really?
No, this is really bad.
Do you want to come back to
No.
you?
What if I'm the tiebreaker? That'd be even worse. We'd
That'd be
here all day.
hysterical. That'd be way better.
I'm gonna have to lean towards Walt Disney World.
All right. You made a wise decision.
Why?
Because it's more fun. It's lighthearted. I think they have a few more projections that I like and like scenes.
What projections are you
I'm
talking about?
I'm saying projections. I'm all flustered. I don't mean it. I just mean scenes. Like, there's a few cool things that I like.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Gabe.
He doesn't agree with me
Gabe,
at
how
all.
about you?
So in our Splash Mountain, like you had mentioned, Nikki, it's very sinister. I think that is the correct word to use because, like, our ride kind of starts outside and it's fine. It's like this calm little ride. Then after you hit that first drop, you go inside. It gets real weird really quickly. Like, all the frogs with the eyes moving all over the place singing, and they're like, find your laughing place and all this stuff, and he ho 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 and all this weird crap. And it's really dark. Like, only the characters are like, they're almost like underlit. It's like really creepy. I really enjoy that part. And then it gets even darker after you get past the drop where you go under the bear's butt. You have kind of like that slide feel drop to it.
I like that part.
And then everything gets black light and they're all like swinging around and swimming and they're like, oh, we're having a great time. We're like, no, we're not. This is terrifying. With all of that said, I'm 100% going to give it to Walt Disney World. And I'll tell you why. And the reason why is because you get to sit next to somebody.
Oh, yeah.
I love sitting next to somebody on rides. I'm not a big fan of single file attractions. I like sitting next to somebody. I like to see their facial expressions. I like to look over at them and experience something. You get to hold their hand. You know, it would be different if our log ride was like Knott's Berry Farm's log ride, where the person's sitting in your lap, because that's kind of like a date night thing. It's like, oh, you're a couple, you're sitting together in the same seat. You're like, that's cute, like the way
that's
Matterhorn
only
used
cute
to be.
and fun when you have a significant other.
That's true.
Yeah, it's
unless
weird.
you're
It's
single
weird
rider,
if John and
then
I go
singles
there
life.
on a trip. Then it's just odd.
I still think that's heartwarming and cute. And what if you're single rider? They're like, sit in that guy's lap.
There you go.
But I love sitting next to I love sitting next to you and going on that ride, and I do like the rabbit edition, you know, the animatronic rabbit that kind of hops back and forth, and I do like that it's not sinister, because as opposed to like what you would believe, I do like the scary stuff, but I think what makes the ride work is the fact that it starts lighthearted, and it's not supposed to be scary and sinister, and then it's supposed to be progressively darker and darker and darker. And then the drop. It's supposed to lead you up into that. The drop is the crescendo to the entire ride. So I think Walt Disney World hits it on the head perfectly into what it needs to be.
Awesome. I love it. Well, it's got the win, but we want to hear from John, and in which way is he leaning?
Yeah, I'm going Disney World on this one.
Right.
And, there's just, a couple things that I do like. I do like how, just a train passing through them, everything that, goes around on the backside of it. I like Disney World on the outside. You do have the 2 viewing areas, right? You have the top one where while the people are going down the drop, and then you have the bottom one where they're just making the loop after they've made it to the end of the drop. The warmer time of year, the top one, they do turn, and I don't know if they do it in California, but they turn the sprayer on. So when that log comes down, it sprays everybody who's standing on that top bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have that for ours.
No, they don't.
Yeah, so that does it by us during the warmer times of the year. During the cooler times, it's not on. Just some different effects. I mean, both, to me, both great rides, but I'm going to give this one, we'll give Disney World a clean sweep here.
All right, awesome. This is getting close. This is getting excited. We've got a few more to go though, and we're gonna move on. Gabe, this is gonna be you voting first, and we're doing Star Tours.
Okay, interesting. Oh man, as for the ride, I mean, they're pretty much the same exact thing once you get indoors. The only real difference is the outside portions, and that's ours, which is just Tomorrowland, and then your guys in Hollywood Studios, you have the big AT-AT, the outside, and kind of like the indoor feel. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to tie this game up, or hopefully tie the game up, make it interesting, give it to Walt Disney World, simply because of the outside portion of the attraction. Ours is this really silly extended queue that really doesn't do anything, and once you get inside, it's the same exact thing. So I really like the addition of the big AT-AT and the environment that you're in over there.
Awesome. Love it. John, you're up next.
Yeah, it's it's where it's located for Disney World. It's the outside, the queue, everything that goes into it. I mean, once you get on the Star Speeder, they're the same thing. Now, ours will be, so Hollywood Studios Star Tours will be right there in Galaxy's Edge. How is that going to play for you guys in Disneyland? Because right now it's in tomorrow.
Not well.
We have no idea.
Yeah, so unless they move it, it won't even be near it.
As far as we know, they're not moving it.
So this idea has come across a lot of blogs and a lot of podcasts. What they should do is end the ride like they do now, where you're landing in Galaxy's Edge, but find some way where you actually get off the ride in Galaxy's Edge. So like,
That's
you
exactly what I've said.
put the whole simulator on a track, and it's underground and slowly moving towards Galaxy's Edge. And then you get off over there.
Yeah.
You'd have to go under the rivers of America.
That'd be fantastic.
It would make sense. All right, so John's going with Disney World, and then how about you, Nikki? Are we going with another clean sweep here?
Yep, same thing. I'm going with Walt Disney World because of where it's located and how cool the front looks.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
We are all tied up 10-10. And in the end, if this doesn't work out, I have an even number, so we could just be tied, and I've just screwed us all over. But we're going to move on next to Swiss Family Treehouse.
It's me. Gosh, I get quite the winner here.
Yeah, how excited are you?
So, Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse in the Magic Kingdom versus Tarzan's Treehouse in Disneyland. Two attractions that I never do. So it really doesn't matter what park I'm at. I'm not climbing a bunch of stairs for the tree, though I've done them both. obviously, I've done Disney World more on that. I like the theming for Swiss Family Robinson. It didn't have to be changed to Tarzan's Treehouse. I know, for all that. I like right when you hit Adventureland. There at the Magic Kingdom is the first thing that you come upon. It's right across. It used to be right across from the Dole Whips, but we've moved to Dole Whips now. So you're across from the Citrus Swirl, which, good news, Citrus Swirl is back, today or yesterday, because it was taken away a few days ago, and they changed the recipe, and they made it a neon orange, and they got rid of the orange bird, and they made it vegan, and there was a lot to it, and somehow in a matter of a week that apparently has all changed, and now we're back to the regular Citrus Swirl. So I got off track there, but I'm giving this one to Disney World. I just like it. Overlooks Jungle Cruise. I understand Tarzan, but I like the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. That whole theme of going through it, seeing the different rooms. I think there's actually a little bit more to see there at the Disney World one. So
okay.
I'm giving Magic Kingdom the home court advantage on this one.
Okay, all right. Nikki, how about you?
Gabe can attest to this. Honeymoon aside, I was so happy to go to Walt Disney World because of how much I missed the Swiss Family Treehouse.
Lame.
I was so mad. Like, I love Tarzan, it's fine, but I was so mad when they turned Swiss Family Treehouse into Tarzan's Treehouse, because I love the Swiss Family Robinson movie, and
You're letting emotions play into your decision.
No, I'm not. I enjoyed climbing the tree much more to see the Swiss Family Treehouse with the whole like lever system with the water that went up and the all that stuff. I just found it a lot more interesting and cool and fun than Tarzan like figurines, like the leopard and like. I just love it, and so I loved, and I dragged Gabe up the tree, and in Walt Disney World because I was so excited to see it all again in any form. So yeah, I'm giving it to Walt Disney World because I just love that version so much more.
Okay, all right. Any emotion for you there, Gabe, or?
Zero. I'm emotionless. I have the eyes of a shark. I'm not going to give it a clean sweep because I don't care about Swiss Family Robinson. It doesn't make a difference to me. I like Tarzan a lot more, so I'm going to give it for me, the vote is for Tarzan. Not that it matters, but I do like the leopard that's up there because kids are like, what's that? And they kind of get close to it, and then it goes off, and then they run away because they're so scared of it, which I think is fantastic. Once again, the scary part of it.
We've established you enjoy watching children cry.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And the fact that we're going to have a kid is going to be fantastic. So I love the little vignettes of the characters kind of together and the music. The only addition that we still have, or the only one bit that we still have from Swiss Family Robinson is the Swiska Polka music that plays at the base of the tree, which I'm okay with that being the only bit because that music is a little annoying. But I do like how at the bottom you kind of have this interactive things where you have these little metal sticks and you could bash on pots and pans and spoons and forks and stuff, kind of like they do in the movie, which is really fun. And then you also have the little Easter egg to Beauty and the Beast where you have Mrs. Potts and Chip that are sitting off to the side. You can't get to them, but they're there, which is really cool. Then there's this big rope that you could shake, and there's a box at the top, and it makes all these monkey noises and elephant noises and stuff. So it's a fun little spot for kids to kind of play and kind of get interactive with the stuff musically too, which is fun. So my vote goes for Tarzan.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Also because the whole rope bridge kind of goes over the whole pathway of Adventureland, and during like Summer of Adventures, I think that's what it's called, they had Indiana Jones like fighting some guy up there, and it was awesome.
That doesn't even factor it, and you're fighting really hard for something you already lost.
It's an overlay. It's an overlay.
Dang.
What?
All right. Well, this next
forever.
one, we're starting off with Nikki. This is another one. I think I have a feeling this is kind of an unfair match, but we're gonna go Mission Breakout versus Tower of Terror.
Yeah, this one's really rough. Oh gosh.
We were dreading this one.
Yeah.
When we saw your list.
Yeah. Now I'm dreading going first on it, but okay. Tower of Terror was my favorite ride at California Adventure.
Oh, did I hear past tense in that sentence?
Well, because it's gone.
Oh, yeah, that's why.
I love the Tower of Terror version in Walt Disney World. I love it. I feel like it was better than the one in California Adventure. The part where you move forward, like, it blew my mind the first time I went on it. I was like, what's going on? And I love Tower of Terror so much. That being said, when Tower of Terror was first open at California Adventure, I didn't try to ride it 8 times in one day like I do with Mission Breakout. Like, Mission Breakout, we're there at opening, we're riding it, then we're going to get a fast pass immediately after, then we're trying to ride it 5 more times after that. There's so many different versions of the ride. You could ride it like
I think it's 5 times.
Yeah, you could ride it at 6?
6 times, sorry.
6. You could ride it 6 times and get a whole different ride each time. And even if you don't care because you're having so much fun.
Yeah.
The queue is the first part of the queue, when you're in the collector's collection, and you see the dog, and now they added these new like birds, and you see all these space artifacts, all that stuff is super cool. And then you get into the collector's office and you see Rocket the raccoon, the animatronic, which is fantastic. And then you get past that and it's like his backstage boiler room area. It looks the same as Tower of Terror,
with some nice lights.
Yeah, whatever. That part could do with some love, but it's just so fun that I have to give it to California Adventure. I have to give it to Mission Breakout.
All right. Jeez.
I have to.
Gabe, I'm interested to hear Gabe because I know John's answer already before he says it, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, this is a really, really rough one for me because I love both rides so much, like so much. Obviously through the process of talking in the show, you realize I like Creepy a lot. So Tower of Terror to me is the pinnacle outside of Haunted Mansion of creepy.
Yeah.
You have this haunted hotel where everything's covered in cobwebs. This really creepy music kind of playing in the background. That's really nice. The classic Twilight Zone theme, which I love the Twilight Zone. That's all fantastic. And then obviously like you mentioned, Nikki, going forward and backwards, or going forward and then moving into the drop shaft and seeing all that stuff. It's kind of wild because you never really go on something that's like that. And then we compare it to Mission Breakout. It's a drastically different attraction. They're almost complete opposites. One is wanting you to be scared, and the other one is wanting you to have a good time and almost party almost. Because you're part of the secret mission, and Rocket plays one of 6 tracks from the Walkman while you're going up and down, and
they have a layover during. And
Halloween. They do have a layover
After Dark
during Halloween, which was really, really cool. I'm not a huge fan of the queue at either, to be honest. I don't like the outside portion of Walt Disney World's. Once you get into the lobby is cool, and once you're in the boiler room, that's cool. For Mission Breakout, the outside of it is basically nothing.
Yeah.
They have some audio playing that's like audio clips of the collector's collection, which is interesting. But it only gets entertaining once you get into the main portion where you see bits and pieces, which they just added these little aliens that follow you. They recognize where your position is, and as you walk by them, they follow you.
They're like little birds.
Yeah, they're from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So when they crash land, the camera kind of sweeps down. They're up on the branch. So it's those creatures.
Okay.
And once you go into the collector's office, you have a really cool Easter egg to extraterrestrial. The name's blanking. Alien Encounter. There we go. There we go. It was in there somewhere. You have a cool Alien Encounter Easter egg because on the desk there's a paper that says "From XS" and there's this huge letter from XS to the collector, which is really cool. And then there's a little Easter eggs in there from the movies as well. Shoot, this is rough. This is real rough. Simply based on the fact that I don't go out of my way searching for the music from Tower of Terror other than the CDs that I have. and looking for the songs that are from Mission Breakout so that I could drive to those songs and imagine being on the ride, I'm gonna have to give it to Mission Breakout.
Okay.
And that's hard for me to say because of how cool Tower of Terror is, because its ride system is significantly better.
Yeah.
Hands down, there's no comparison with the ride system. I'm solely going off of the emotions that it gives you on either one, and as much as I like being scared, the party atmosphere of the music and everyone's clapping and singing along and you're going up and down, and then you have Rocket, like, when the doors open, he's like, Disneyland, that's thematically inconsistent. And then you drop and it's just like, come on.
The way Mission Breakout, like, shoots you up. I love that.
It's just the amount of airtime you get to, and it's just like, oh man, like, I'm just getting excited thinking about it. Like, you're hearing Burnin' Love from Elvis, and then they jump out of their encasement, and then they land right in front of you. It's just like, yeah, you want to just, like, scream in excitement. So, oh man, yeah, Mission Breakout, hands down.
All right, well, I think you've made a wise decision. I think you can be comfortable in that. John?
It's rough. It's a rough one. I know people are going to be like, what the heck, Gabe? What the heck? You don't know what you're talking about. Also, I'd even mention the story aspect to either one, which can be argued, but I'll let you take it, John. I've talked long enough.
No, that's fine. So I only got to ride Mission Breakout once. So I was there last year when it opened. So I was there for that day. I didn't get to ride it that day. I think I rode it 3 days later that I was able to get a fast pass finally and get to it. And I said right away, that's the best Disney ride I've ever been on. I want the party, the fun atmosphere. The music is awesome. The video. To me, the theming of both of them is great. I don't care about going up and down. Right? Realistically, you guys have 2 rides there at California Adventure that were the same. It's just one was in a building.
Yeah, true. Maliboomer and Tower of Terror.
Yeah. So the Maliboomer, I mean, you're just going up and down, you're dropping, and then you have Tower of Terror.
That's gone now, though.
Right, but when you had it, I mean, it was the same thing. So I didn't care about the ride. It didn't do anything for me, and at Hollywood Studios, and when that ride opened, you went through a lot of different versions of it. So the first version, you went up and you dropped. That was it. That was the whole ride. So, I mean, it really was getting you through the elevator shaft, going down the hall, doing all that. And then you would go up, the door would open, you would drop, ride over. And then that was opened, and I think it had been open a number of months, and I think they were gauging how people were going to do with it. And then it was Tower of Terror 2. And it used to be great. When you used to pull into Disney and you'd be coming down the main road, they'd have billboards and different things for these rides, and they'd have this big Tower of Terror one where the elevator was hanging by a couple cables and it was just swinging. It was right there in the middle of the road in the median. So, they added the number 2 to it. Now you went up twice, right, and dropped. And then it went to the random cycle and all that. But then, to me, at the end, it's the same ride, right? You're putting lipstick on a pig at the end of the day. It's, let's just keep going. We were just going up and down the same elevator shaft, okay. It's random. It's great. You get airtime. All that's fine. But when I rode Guardians of the Galaxy, I had my littlest one with me, so at the time he was 6. I had my oldest son with me, so at that time he would have been 18, and then myself. You completely forget that you're going up and down on that ride.
That's true.
I just think at Guardian, there is so much going on, and with the music and that, and then just the pre-show, when you're in the room with Rocket and he's moving around, awesome. The only thing that I thought was dumb was I need everybody's hands, and you got to put your hands up, and right. And there was one.
I think that's so smart.
Really? Because realistically, there's one person who sticks their hands up.
Everyone, I put my hands up every time. I'm a nerd.
Really?
I don't care.
I love it.
Yeah, see, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm the anti hands up. I'm like,
Hi,
yeah,
John.
whatever.
I put my hands
You know,
up.
It's no different. Go to a sporting event. I have never done the wave. I went to the University of Florida, and on the student section, when anybody tried on the alumni section starting the wave, the student section would stand up, and when the wave got to them, everybody would sit and the wave. So, and I encourage anybody who listens to this, if you're at a sporting event and somebody starts doing the wave, stand, it gets you, sit down, end that thing. It's ridiculous. So, that's the same thing in the ride. It's like I could suspend disbelief for only so long. Me throwing my hand in the air with 50 other people, yeah, okay, come on. But the ride itself, awesome. I mean, just awesome. And I came back and I'm like, the fact that they kept saying, well, everybody was like, if they could do Tower of Terror by us, and then they said, no, even better, we're giving you a Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. I was a little upset. And we're getting it at Epcot. So it'll be the largest indoor roller coaster, is what we're getting for Guardians of the Galaxy. There at Epcot, where Universal Energy it is. So I will have to continue to make trips out to California so I could ride that a second time, because it is amazing. Love it.
And not to beat a dead horse, but I like how Tower of Terror's kind of story flows through, and you're becoming a part of like an episode almost, and you're going into the Twilight Zone. I like much more that when you look at Guardians, when you just look at the sign of the ride, the story has already begun, because you look at the sign that says Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Those letters, Mission Breakout, were stolen by Rocket and rearranged on there. And you see his little red footprints that had stepped in paint. And it goes over the side of the wall, so when you're in the line, you see them on the other side of the wall. And then when you're even further in the line, there's an explosion on the side of the building that you see the prints coming out of as well. So when you get into the actual ride and you're in the boiler room, you see a red can of paint that spilled over, and you see his footprints. So it's like, okay, this is where he started, that's where he ended. You kind of get like a gauge of like what's happening. And I think that's so much fun.
So let me ask you this question then. Just because the outside of the building is dramatic. I mean, just the colors, and how they did it so quickly. As that was being built and that Tower of Terror was changing over to Guardians, and you start seeing some of it, which at first you're like, holy cow, I mean, was that well received right away? Or it was, what the heck are they doing?
It was poo-pooed. It was torn apart. But the second you went on the ride, you forgot it all.
I think the hardest part about all of it was, and I still feel this way, is that it was a complete disrespect to the attraction that it was. Because when they started scaffolding that thing and changing the outside,
it was still going.
Tower of Terror wasn't closed. Yeah. Tower of Terror was still open.
Oh, wow.
So you approach and it's like, okay, I'm going on Tarp Tower. That makes a lot of sense. And I just think that's bad form on Disney's side. Really bad form. If you're closing down an attraction to change it and it's completely covered in tarps and scaffolding, just close the ride. Just close the ride. Because you're not getting the full experience, and I just thought it was really cheap.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, this is really getting close then. We've got a couple more to go. This is going to start with you, Gabe, and that's going to be Radiator Springs Racers versus Test Track.
So this one's a little bit rough because, Test Track was one of the rides that before going to Walt Disney World, I dreamt about going on. I saw it in all the videos on Travel Channel. It's like, you get to go on this ride where you're testing a car and you go through heat and all this stuff. So by the time I got there, obviously it changed, and it was no longer that kind of theming. And now it's almost more like a Tron style thing where you get to design your own car and test the car you designed and things like that. And I thought Test Track was awesome. Just how fast you go and just being on the outside and hitting the bank turns and things like that. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it to Radiator Springs Racers simply because of the theming. I like Test Track's theming a lot, but going into that gorgeous red rock work and then going inside and feeling like you're in the movie with these incredible animatronics that are talking to you as you go by, and going into Radiator Springs within the ride and seeing Sarge and Mater and all those other characters that you love in the film, and it splits off. You either go to Ramone's and get like a new coat of paint, or you go to Luigi's and they give you like new tires. They have a really cool little effect where it looks like you have white wall tires in the mirror. And the racing side by side to me is really what takes the cake, because it gets this feeling of competition. You're looking at the people across the way. You're like, what? I'm going to beat you. We're going to win. And you're like screaming at each other. And when you get on the ride and you start going, you get into it. And I have yet to be on that ride and not see people get into it. You know, they want to win. Unfortunately, ours doesn't go as fast as Test Track, but I'm willing to let that go with how much theming there is for Radiator Springs Racers.
Yeah. I think that makes perfect sense there. How about you, John?
Yeah, so the previous version of Test Track, before they went to Tron, made sense. It was Test Track. You were testing a vehicle. You went over the cobblestone road on the way down to see how your shocks and that fit. You went through the corrosion room. You went through the heat and the cold. You did the braking. It really did tie into the whole GM and testing the car and all that. The changeover to Tron, to me, is just kind of quirky, right? Part of it is I'm testing the car. Part of it is, am I in Tron? Why am I braking, but yet I'm going up ramps? It doesn't make as much sense anymore. I love the speed of it. I love making that bank around the side of the building where your stomach just drops. And then also obviously hitting the straightaway where they don't hit 65, everybody gets to 64.7. I don't know if that's somewhat of a glitch on that or not, but that's always been the one speed. But you go to Radiator Springs Racer and you go to Cars Land, and just that whole theming of you are in Cars Land. When I was there with my wife and kids, every corner I was just turning and just saying, do you remember this part of the movie of just seeing this? And then to me, Radiator Springs Racer is the old Test Track for that part of getting the car prepared for the race. It's that nice of I'm taking a lazy drive. I got the waterfalls. I got the rock work, and then you get in there and it's you go through the tractor tipping and you see the characters and the interaction. They look great. Get the car ready for the race, and then as you said, you get side by side. And it's fun, even though you don't get the speed. It's just a blast going through that, because again, I bring it back to that Mission Breakout. It's fun, right? That competition. It's thrilling. It's that whole point there where you're now, it's more of a party type thing of having a good time there. So Radiator Springs Racers wins by a pretty wide margin on this one.
All right. Which way are you going, Nikki? We know we already got a win here for Radiator Springs, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I had fun on Test Track. You go fast. It was a fun experience, but at the end of the day, you can't beat Radiator Springs Racers. They built a whole world in that ride, and it's mind blowing when you're in there. I still get awed when I see the cars. I'm like, oh my god, how are they even moving their mouths like that? Or grills or bumpers.
Their bumpers and grills.
But yeah, whatever you want to call it, it's their mouth, but like it's just so much fun, that whole ride. It's so immersive and like it's like everyone else said, it's peaceful at the beginning with the waterfall and it's picturesque, and then you go into the town and your mind is blown by that, and then you get the fun race at the end, and you can't beat it.
I think if Test Track had the original theme to it, this wouldn't be that easy of a decision.
Yeah.
I think it would be a much more difficult decision, because the theming originally for Test Track was spot on. And I could have easily made the decision for Test Track by just making the comparison of like, okay, well, we're in a town full of living cars and we're in a hollowed out car. so we're driving a corpse of a car? To me, like, that's weird. But I'm going to have to give it, yeah. I mean, it would have been a much harder decision, but unfortunately you guys changed your theme over there on that side, so.
Well, I wasn't on the board who voted on that one, just so you know. But
How dare you? I'm blaming you directly.
Well, it's so funny. I only remember the old one because, I mean, I went as a kid. I have pictures of me as a young kid on the old one, but that's all I really remember from it. So I don't remember the old one that vividly because it had been probably 30 years or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, all right, so we're going to move on next. And this is going to be Goofy Sky School versus Primeval Whirl, which will be interesting to hear because I think Primeval Whirl is the worst ride that's ever been created in the history of the world. So John, we're going over to you first for this one.
Okay, so Primeval Whirl sits 4 people, and you all sit next to each other. It's a mouse coaster, so the track was, one of those store-bought. Disney went and said, hey, we'll take that track. Nothing built. They kind of designed the theme around the Dino Land thing, but there's nothing special about the track. What's unique about this one is the vehicle does spin randomly at certain times, so you don't just go up and down the mouse track and around the curves and sharp banks. There's periods of time where the vehicle will spin and you'll go backwards or whatever down. Goofy Sky School used to be Mulholland Madness, and I used to like that one because all the vehicles were different types of car. The ride vehicles were different types of car vehicles, right? You had a police car and you had all kinds of different ones on there. That one sits 4 people, but 2 in the front, 2 in the back. It is a tight squeeze on it. This one, when you go up and down the hills and through the corners, this does not spin randomly. So it's just a straight ride. I could kind of go with both. I just like the Goofy Sky School. I like Mulholland Madness better. But I like the Goofy Sky School just because of the visual of what you can see where you're there. At Animal Kingdom, when you're on that ride, you're not seeing anything, right? You're seeing another spinning ride, and that's about it. Here, you have the Grand Californian that you're seeing. You're able to see the water for World of Color. You're able to see, the Ferris wheel, what's going to now be the Incredicoaster, which I could do away with. They don't need to put an overlay on that. They don't need to change that. It's just fine the way it is. But I'm giving it there to California. And Jeremy, you might like it. It's not the spinning isn't going to kill you.
All right. Yeah, sounds like I would like that better. Is it as jerky as Primeval World?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, that's the part that gets me so much. Is it just constantly beating at my kidneys for 3 minutes, and the fact that my daughter makes me ride it every time we go by. Like if we see like a 30-minute wait, I'm just like, oh, thank God, we're not going on it.
This might beat you worse because the vehicle is smaller.
Oh God!
I think you have more room on Primeval World than you do on these.
All right, I'm gonna stay away from both of them. But all right, Nikki, how about you?
Can't say I ride Goofy Sky School all that often.
It's very rare.
We went on Primeval Whirl.
Yeah.
I remember having fun on it, but other than that, I don't remember it all that well.
It's forgettable except for the bruising.
It's forgettable, yeah.
Yeah, I have that feeling about it, but I think I'm swayed just by what you said about how much you can see on Goofy Sky School. You have a lot to look at while you're there, and I do enjoy the occasional mouse coaster. So, I'm giving it to Goofy Sky School.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Gabe?
So, when you're looking at the theming, I appreciate Goofy Sky School a lot more than Primeval Whirl. When we went on that, I thought it was interesting, but it felt kind of dated, and I didn't really quite like that. I also didn't like that you have to sit in this one big thing with a whole bunch of people that you may not know, and then also just capacity-wise, if they're just putting you in groups of people that you do know, and you're only 2 people or like 1 person, it's a capacity killer.
Yeah.
but just, and usually I like spinning. Spinning, like, I'm good with. I like spinning rides, like spinning roller coasters and stuff. Totally down with that. Simply based on the fact that Goofy Sky School only hurts me and Primeval Whirl hurts me and makes me feel ill. I'm gonna have to give it to Goofy Sky School.
Okay. All right. Well, we got you guys are taking a sizable lead here as we go into a show which will be Fantasmic. And you're up first, Nikki.
Okay. Well, full disclosure once again, we skipped this when we were in Walt Disney World because people were saying it wasn't as good as what we had. But that was before they redid what we had. So I think ours now is a lot more similar to what you have in Florida. I think I'm going to have to give it to Disneyland just based on the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, do they have the Mark Twain at the end? Like
they don't have a Mark Twain because it's in like a special staged area. They do have a boat. Yeah. It almost looks like a ferry boat or like a river boat, but it's nothing like the Mark Twain.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Disneyland because of the Mark Twain at the end, and just that's like my favorite part of the whole thing. Like everything else aside, they have this new like projection on water, kind of like World of Color. And
that's not new. They've always had that.
No, they added more of it though.
I think different scenes and stuff, but they've always had the projections.
Yeah, but they added more. It's like more prominent, and like the big. Oh God, now I'm just gonna get into ripping apart why I don't like the new one. No, yeah, I'm giving it to us because of the Mark Twain.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How about you, Gabe?
I've seen both, one on YouTube, obviously, and other formats, and one in person. And we did make the decision not to see it simply because many people told us that it wasn't. Don't waste your time. I wish I did see it, just simply based on the fact so I could compare the two. Because Fantasmic is my favorite nighttime spectacular show that Disney has ever created. In any capacity, even the ones that I saw at Walt Disney World, as much as I loved Illuminations that I thought was fantastic, as much as I really loved
called Illuminations Fantasmic.
No, fantastic.
You said fantastic.
Did I? Oh, whoops.
At least
slip of the tongue.
We'll have to go
Freudian
back to the
slip.
tape.
Yeah, rewind. As much as I think Illuminations was fantastic, and as much as I loved Wishes, Fantasmic has a special place in my heart, and I think that the music in Fantasmic really, really evokes a lot of emotions. And for me, I remember being a kid, standing at the Rivers of America, watching Mickey is on the Sorcerer up on the top and pointing, and fireworks are shooting everywhere. And I love Fantasmic so much. And I'm gonna have to give it to Disneyland on a few different reasons. One, we did get the upgrade of our dragon. Our dragon is a full-bodied dragon with an arm and a full neck and everything. It's no longer the crane with the head on it and those really big wings.
That's really cool. I do like our new dragon.
It's really freaking cool. Also the Mark Twain. But then also because when our cannon went off, originally it was Peter Pan, and it was awesome. Now it's Pirates, which isn't as cool, but it's still pretty cool because you have all these undead guys on the ship of the Columbia.
I actually really like
which is pretty cool. And they were swinging. We were at the edge, and they're swinging over the crowd.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then I don't really dig the whole Pocahontas part of Fantasmic at Hollywood Studio. I think it doesn't fit, and I don't know if that's just because I wasn't raised with it, but I just feel like it kind of sticks out, kind of like Aladdin, which is an addition to ours now, sticks out. Like, I don't like the Aladdin edition
I don't
ours
like it at all.
I think it sticks out like Pocahontas does.
Yeah.
But for those reasons, I'm going to have to give it to Disneyland.
Okay. All right. John, your thoughts?
So first I went to Disneyland, and Fantasmic was somewhat new, and it was, to me, it was just, gosh, it was a blast. It was right there. You just sat on the ground there by the Rivers of America. They showed it a couple times at night, and it was to me, it was a very casual atmosphere and just a blast of a show. I loved it, and I'm like, this is the best nighttime show I've ever seen. And then when I heard we were getting it at Hollywood Studios, I was really excited. And then I got less excited when they said, well, it's only going to be about 80% the same. Nah, it's maybe only going to be this. And I think they said it came out to maybe like 50% the same. And then you go to it and you're like, wow, is this different? We're going to suck the fun atmosphere out of it. And we're going to stick it into a giant stadium, to seat 10,000 people, to watch it, and you're going to line up, and we're going to fast pass it. And it took away to me from the atmosphere. Now it's a cattle call of a show. And then you watch the show, and it's nice, but it wasn't as good. No different than you said, right? We fitted into this footprint where Disneyland, to me, has more room because it's using the whole rivers of America. So you guys can get, the boat there at the end where we have that smaller version. At it, my favorite part of the whole thing is the little boat with the monkeys. I love that. I love music
so
goes with it.
They're
So that's actually my favorite part of the whole show. I'm giving it to Disneyland on this. I just think that it was done as a much better show. 1, 2, the location of it was better. And 3, I always think this, and this is where, when we tally it up, I think some of the things that I like about Disneyland is, while it's a smaller park compared to Disney World to me was built for mass consumption, right? We're going to do everything to get as many people through everything as we can. I don't feel that way when I'm at Disneyland.
It has warmth. Disneyland has a lot of warmth to it.
Yes.
A lot of heart.
So,
all right, Fantasmic gets the win, and we are moving on to the very final item, which is going to be the castles. So we're looking at our real landmarks here, and that's Sleeping Beauty versus Cinderella, and we're going right to Gabe.
Oh, this one sucks because I really like the one in Magic Kingdom because it's so big and it's so pretty and it makes
so
such
different.
a better.
They're so different.
Yeah, it's just so different. Ours is small, but I mean, it works in the size of the confines of our main street and how big those buildings are. The castle works, and the fact that Walt touched that castle, he helped make the castle. You see him walking underneath the arch of the castle in some old photos, and the fact that you could stand in the same spot, it's just, it gives you just that warm fuzzy feeling to know that the guy that created all of this was right there is incredible. But oh man, the castle in Magic Kingdom is just simply the perfect backdrop for fireworks. Yeah. As much as I love ours, your guys' is grand, it's big, it's beautiful, and it looks fantastic during the nighttime for fireworks. So my vote goes to Magic Kingdoms.
All right, okay. John, how about you?
Yeah, so growing up there from, Disney World and seeing the castle, the first time I went to Disneyland and I saw the castle, I said, where's the rest of it? What happened? It's there, but it's, scale, it's just no comparison there. I mean, I like the fact that you have the little walk-through area, through the castle, that you take the stairs up and you see all the different window displays on that tell the whole story, which is neat. I like the area around it and that, but there's no comparison. I mean, the fact that that's where our, one of our premier restaurants are, is located in there. You have the Bippity Boppity Boutique, located inside of that. The, just all the tile work on the walls inside of it. And now that they've made all the additions around it to the hub of adding new seating areas, another area around the hub, so there's a center hub and then another hub beyond that, and then the new turrets and that they've put up on the side for the speakers for the show and everything, hands down, Disney World. Though if we wanted to add on, I see some of the photos of Paris or Shanghai or something like that, and then you throw some snow on their castles, which I saw. And I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. We'll never get that by us.
It was
but I mean,
so pretty.
So those things were so pretty of just looking at there. But since we're just staying with the 2 U.S. parks, Disney World wins this one.
Okay.
A couple of my friends were over at Shanghai when it was snowing, and they're like, it was pretty for 5 minutes until we got really cold.
Yeah. All right, Nikki, which way are you going?
Okay, well, decision's already made. And I love the grand scale of Walt Disney World's castle. I don't know, there's just some little charm about ours. And it's just, when you walk up, you walk directly through the center of it, and then you walk to the other side, and there's like murals of like Sleeping Beauty, and I love the little walk through in ours, and we have the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique too, but it's over to the side, and I just love ours. I don't know, it's like Walt Disney World is grand, it's big, it's picturesque, it looks great during the winter when all those lights are on it. At night, I absolutely love it, like you can't beat it. But there's just some charm about Disneyland's castle that I keep coming back to, and I just can't get away from. And I think it's not the biggest, but it's my favorite.
Hey, and yours was never turned into a birthday cake, so we get to
Or covered in
that
toilet
one, too.
paper.
Yes.
Oh man. All right. Well, we're ending with a Walt Disney World win, but it was not enough as the West Coast beats out the East Coast 14-12, but still very, very
Oh,
close.
man, that was freaking close.
That was, yeah, especially after the way it started with with the West Coast getting quite a few wins. So let me ask you guys this question: What is one ride that Walt Disney World does have that you wish you guys had?
Man, that's a really, really tough question. Oh man, I don't
I
know.
should think for
I wish I thought about this beforehand.
No, Expedition Everest.
Yeah. Expedition Everest would be fantastic.
Okay.
If I had to, just so I don't have to make a choice between the two, I would want Tower of Terror to come back and have the better version of Tower of Terror there, so that I don't have to choose between Mission Breakout and it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Expedition Everest. Yeah, I really wish we had that.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train would be fun too.
Carousel of Progress.
Oh, Carousel of Progress.
No, better than all of that. Better than every single thing we just said.
Are you gonna make a joke right now?
No, I'm being serious. People Mover.
Oh, People
yeah.
Mover.
Yeah.
Done.
Oh, I miss
Done.
People Mover.
Done. I want it.
That's
Screw
good.
Rocket Rods.
Yep.
Put People Mover back up there.
I miss People Mover.
Well, man, this has been a blast.
Let me throw the question to you.
Okay.
Let me throw the question to you guys. What ride would you want that only Disneyland has that you would guys want in Magic Kingdom or at Walt Disney World?
Well, I'll say again, not knowing everything, but even just listening to some of these comparisons here, Mission Breakout sounds incredible, and I think Radiator Springs, and I really wish we would get the Indiana Jones. I wish they would blow out all of Dino Land and retheme that area and give us Indiana Jones. But John, knowing everything that you guys have that we actually don't have, what would you go with, John?
Yeah, you said that. I'm going to go on the nostalgia part. So I would take the Matterhorn and give us the Nemo subs back. We had 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, so we've never had the Nemo overlay with them. But there's just something about those going around there in the park. But the Matterhorn is a blast. I'd love to have that.
Yeah.
Don't need to go to a chiropractor after going on that thing. You're good to
No.
go.
Hey, but again, you have a Yeti that works.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We do have a Yeti that works. Yeah, true.
So if you guys want to take Everest and we'll take the Matterhorn, we get the Yeti.
Yeah, you get the broken one.
And you get, I don't know when the last time you guys were at Disney, but I think if anything, you guys, you'd probably take Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, we haven't been able to go on that.
Yeah, they were still building it when we were there.
It is
amazing.
Insane.
It's best ride they've done.
Yeah, you guys will have to get back out here, that's for sure.
Trust me, it's on the to-do list.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna meet up with you guys for sure when you're here. Why don't you go ahead and let all of our listeners know where they can find you guys out on social media, on the web, and how they can listen to your podcast.
So you can find all of our social media, and you can find our podcast at themeparkduo.com. Our podcast is also on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and all the other podcatchers. And then also, if you're looking for us on social media, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Periscope, all just by searching Theme Park Duo. And if you ever want to reach out to us and say, hey, we heard you on that show, we disagree with everything you had to say because you guys are dumb, you can always email us at themeparkduo@gmail.com.
I love it. Well, we cannot thank you guys enough for coming on. This was an absolute blast. It definitely makes me look at my calendar and try and figure out when I can get my family out to Disneyland even sooner. So we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to definitely stay in touch with you because you two are an absolute blast. So
Thank you so much for having us on. We had a blast kind of debating all this stuff because it makes us, like you said, think about everything that we have and then what you guys have, and it makes us a little bit sad in the heart that we can't be over there and going on all those rides again and having a blast. But like you said, definitely going to have to meet up next time. Either you come here or we go there. We're going to have to get beers and chat.
I love it. We will have a lot of fun. All right.
We definitely know where you can do that. Yeah. Disney World.
Yeah, so do we over here as well. Let us know.
Yep, I love it. All right, well, thanks everyone so much for listening. We've had a lot of fun here, so make sure you go out on iTunes and leave us a rating and review. And that's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.